So I don't know. Do we do the Wolfie thing? Do we do the Wolf Glick World Champion special and say, I drafted Sneasler in my draft league, and you won't believe what happened next. This will be a tale of triumph and of loss. There's going to be some snipes. There's going to be some plan changes. Things are going to go awry. But in the end, something or other will happen. We'll find out. Okay. It's a Sneasler draft. It's a new experience. So, let's just get right into it. I'm thinking, what am I going to do first? What are my plans going in? And I don't want to overcommit. I don't want to say, I'm going to get this Pokemon and this Pokemon and this Pokemon, because I'm definitely going to get sniped. So, I'm keeping my options open, but I'm thinking of lines to take. So, I get 12th pick, which is not the best, but not the worst. I'm not right dead in the middle. And I'll see what I can do with it. I think, well, at the end of round 1, I'm going to get 2 Pokemon pretty quickly. So if I can get some kind of 2 Pokemon synergy, that's good. So I'm looking at lines like this. I'm looking at sun, snow, grassy terrain, trick room, the various terrains, the various weathers, maybe some kind of hazard stack thing, whatever. And I'm looking at the Pokemon that are good in that archetype and good everywhere else, and the Pokemon that are only good in that archetype. So I'm thinking, well, if I take Chi-Yu, I'm not committed to Sun, but suddenly Torkoal looks a lot nicer. And once I've got Torkoal, Lilligant Hisui looks actually good. Pick. Okay, yeah, so I'm thinking we try to get one of these Pokemon. We try to get a Gouging Fire or a Great Tusk for Sun. We try to get a Kyurem or a Excalibur, and then we can make some kind of snow screens thing work. Or we try to get a Sneasler, or an Ursaluna Blood Moon, and we try to do a Trick Room Grassy Terrain. I've put Snow and Screens together and Grassy Terrain and Trick Room together because there's kind of overlap in what they want to do. Obviously Snow is setting up Aurora Veil, so any kind of setup sweeper that works on a Snow team is also going to work on a Screens team because they're using the same thing. And then Grassy Terrain and Trick Room, well, the Grassy Terrain healing is really nice for these kind of bulky, offensive wall breakers that are slow, so they're going to take chip damage and they want to heal them back up. So, and they're also what you want in Trick Room. So that's kind of what I'm thinking going in. But there's going to be 11 picks before me, so options open, we'll see what comes out. Okay, so I'm expecting most people to pick from these high tier Pokemon, 19, 18, 17. The really good ones are going to go quickly, so the 19s are unlikely to find their way to me. I don't expect that by 12th pick there'll be any left. But let's see what happens. Okay, so no surprises. Dark-type Urshifu goes first, then Palafin, and then Pincurchin. And we're all like, what the heck, Pincurchin? This person is instantly committed to electric terrain. It's highly respectable and kind of terrifying for everyone involved. Moving on. So Iron Treads, very nice. Valiant, Dragapult, Gouging Fire, Deoxys Speed, Amoonguss, Spectria, Greninja. Okay, so I'm looking at my pool. I've got a few 18s, Darkrai, Landorus, and Latios. I'm not that excited about Sand, and the other two are like generally good special attackers, but they don't give me any kind of archetype. So I'm looking at the 17s, and I'm thinking I want Sneasler. Silhouette at the start of the video. I want Sneasler. I want to try to do a grassy terrain thing. I know the general structure. It's really ugly. That's one of the main problems. Sneasler is horrific looking. But I'm willing to work past that to make Sneasler work. So, Sneasler goes into my bubble on the left, over far left, that way. Yeah. Okay. More picks come out. Clefable, Darkrai, Great Tusk, Chi-Yu, and then we get into round 2, and I see the Tinkaton, and I'm like, darn, Tinkaton's really cheap. Tinkaton costs 10 or 11, and I thought that's cheap for Tinkaton. Tinkaton has a lot of utility and a great typing. But They got to it first. So that's okay. Roaring Moon comes out. Latios. Gliscor. Okay, my turn. The question is, do I commit to grassy terrain right now, take the Rillaboom, or do I take another good Pokemon and get Rillaboom later? So I was considering taking Ursaluna Blood Moon. Special attacker. I think it pairs quite well with Sneasler. And it likes the grassy terrain being up, and it definitely likes Trick Room. But I'm like, Rillaboom is too kind of generally useful. Like, the chance of someone else wanting it is really high. So I'm going to take it now. I'm committing to grassy terrain. Even just this combo with the grassy terrain and the unburdened Sneasler is kind of self-justifying. I could just run those two and then a normal balanced team, and that would be okay. But I want to do the grassy terrain because I think it's funny. And I don't have any real prep beyond these kind of gimmicky lines. Okay, so here's my team. Currently 2, a man and an ape. Cost me 32 points. We've got plenty to spend. Okay, so here's a rundown of our sort of starting type relations. Sneasler has 3 weaknesses, and there's 2 other types that it can't hit neutrally with its stab moves. So Poison and Ghost both resist Poison and Fighting. Sneasler's not weak to Poison, in fact it resists Poison, but Poison types are still really annoying to it, because it doesn't have very good coverage to deal with them. And if I'm trying to sweep with Sneasler, if they've got a Toxapex, that's no fun for me. So, here's the Rillaboom. A lot of weaknesses, it's grass type, we're okay with it. Bug's not a real type, Poison is... it's a real type, but is it really a real type? I don't know. And then 2 more resisted stab moves. So Rillaboom's got a lot of problems, but it does cover Sneasler's ground type, at least. Now, technically, Sneasler covers Rillaboom's poison and bug weaknesses, but Sneasler is a fake resistance. I can't switch it in. If I'm switching Sneasler in, we're activating Unburden, we're going for the win. We're not using it to sponge a hit that's going to Rillaboom, so I've not put it as a resistance to any of these. If we're bringing it in, we're probably bringing it in on a sack, so that we can guarantee it being on full health. Okay, so those are my 2 guys. Here are some candidates for third. So at the top, those top 6 are generally good Pokemon that I like, that fit well with grassy terrain. Annihilate is just nice with the healing, it really enjoys the healing. Same with Ursaluna. Hatterene likes the healing as well. It's a good hazard option, hazard control option with Magic Bounce. And then Heatran, again, bulky, likes the healing, doesn't have recovery of its own, and has an amazing resistance profile on Grass Steel. So Fire Steel is obviously an amazing defensive type, but look how well it covers my weaknesses here. With everything that Rillaboom struggles with, Heatran can sort out, can resist. Most of the things that Sneasler struggles with, Heatran can help with too, except for Ghost and Ground. So I'm thinking, okay, I mean, this seems pretty clear cut. Gives me a Steel, gives me a Fire immunity. It's just really nice. But I've got these other backup options. And then I've also got this lower group of fellows with normal Ursaluna and Hawlucha. I don't need Hawlucha because I've got Sneasler, and I don't really see the point of having both. But if I didn't have Sneasler, Hawlucha would be the backup Unburden Sweeper. And then we've got some slow Trick Room attackers, Iron Hands, and Hooper, and then some grass types to make use of the boosted grass type damage. Okay, so this is a selection of teams that I've generated. So the story for this dates all the way back to the Cambrian era, when the Trilobites and the Ammonites were kind of partying in the benthic trenches beneath whatever the oceans were called 500 million years ago. And the story continues 500 million years later, when I was assigned an essay to write about Trilobites. And so, naturally, I spent a week procrastinating by writing a program to scrape Smogon's dataset and generate me some teams based on usage statistics. So, I ran the program on this month's usage data, and here's what we can see. So these are teams with Rillaboom, and we've got some teams which are Rillaboom plus Alolan Ninetales, so they're screens grassy terrain, and we've got some that are just kind of generically good, like bulky balance. So we've got the Great Tusk and the Raging Bolt, and then we've got these ones here, which are dedicated-ish grassy terrain. We've got the Heatran that I want. We've got Hawlucha, which is a Sneasler substitute because Sneasler's banned in OU. And then we've got Hatterene and Comfey. Comfey's are really nice, and I really like it in Draft League. It gives you priority Draining Kiss, and although we can't terrestrialize it grass, it gets the grass boost on Giga Drain, on priority Giga Drain from the terrain. And then we've got Ogerpon or Sandy Sharks for our Spiker. So this is kind of what I'm wanting to aim for, with a few upgrades if we can get them from Pokemon that are banned in OU. Okay, so I'm gunning for Heatran, number 1. If I don't get it, Ursaluna Blood Moon's number 2. I think it's really strong. And then number 3 and 4 are my fairies. I like both of them. If one of them gets taken, it's no big deal, I'll take the other one. But I'm praying for Heatran. So, see how the draft shakes out. Tinglu, that's water Urshifu, so the first one was dark. Landorus, we've got some Pokemon that I'm not caring that much about. Wasn't after any of these guys. Iron Bundle goes. Palipizin, so we've got a rain team. Thing to watch out for. I'm not interested in trying to snipe the rain team. I know that they're going to want a Zapdos and a Swift Swimmer and all these things. A Chaludon, but I don't want any of those Pokemon. Okay, that's round 2. Round 3 begins, and now we start to see the real structures. Terapagos comes out. There's the Chaludon, Iron Boulder. So the Pincurchin team is just going to be every Iron Pokemon plus maybe a Alolan Raichu. Cyclizar. Cyclizar is interesting. This was a mistake in the draft, or a miscommunication. The double dragon, double rapid spinner combo, I mean, you know, maybe there's some secret power there, but I suspect they'll change it after the draft is done. Okay, so Skeledirge, Metagross, Garchomp. And now I'm like, okay, there's 4 picks until it's my turn. Heatran's still on the table. All my picks are still on the table. Blood Moon's still on the table. I'm feeling pretty good. Corviknight comes out. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good. Haven't been sniped at all. Duraludon comes out. 2 more picks. There goes Heatran. I'm like, darn. I'm not like darn. I was asleep at the time. My picks are being held. I wake up in the morning to find Heatran gone, which is not a death blow, but it is a very sad turn of events. Okay, Golden Go goes. So they've got Tinglu Golden Go. They can do some disgusting spike stuff. And then it's my turn. And because Heatran's gone, I'm taking Blood Moon. I still want it. It's really good. Not much more to say. Some guys who I'm not very interested in go away. There's Hawlucha taken, which is interesting. So I'm not getting Hawlucha, but I wasn't really aiming for Hawlucha anyway. Petrunt's gone. Raging Bolt's gone. And now it's, do I want Comfey or Hatterene? And I think I want Hatterene. So, after the first 4 rounds, I have 4 weird men. So I look at my team, I'm like, wow, I've crafted a collection of the ugliest creatures known to man. But that's okay. As I said, I can look past Sneasler. I can look past Rillaboom and Hatterene and Ursaluna Blood Moon too. At least they're in it together. And so, yeah, this is what we've got. And I'm quite liking this, actually. I've got Trick Room stuff with Hatterene and Blood Moon. I've got the grassy terrain. I've got fast options, slow options. I'm not unhappy. I think it's would have been nice to have Heatran, but I think this is a good 4. Okay, so here's what Hatterene and Ursaluna cover for my sort of 2 Pokemon core. So it's not too bad, right? Ursaluna's covering two of Rillaboom's weaknesses and both of the types that Sneasler can't hit with its stab. But it's not Heatran, right? We've still got some holes. We've got these problems. My team's not liking poison types. I know we've got Ursaluna resisting and Sneasler resisting, but I'm not convinced that either of those are as stalwart as actually having a steel type like Heatran. Okay, so here's my outstanding weaknesses: flying, ice, fire, steel. So my next picks are going to be 1, compensating for those weaknesses, and 2, Terra Captains. Now's the time to start thinking about who I want to terrestrialize. So in this draft league, you choose 2 Terra Captains, they get 3 Terras, one of them has to be Stab, and I'm looking through the list, and there's 2 Pokemon, with 50 points left, there's 2 Pokemon that stand out to me. I see I've got this Trick Room strategy, I've got Ursaluna. Is there anyone who's undervalued because they're slow that I can use? And I see Araquanid and Glastrier. I mean, Glastrier has crazy BST. That's a lot of stats for not many points. And Araquanid, similarly, with Water Bubble, it's hitting very hard with water type moves. And they're both really slow and they like being under Trick Room. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll take these guys as my Terra Captains. I'll choose one or the other to bring to the game based on what I need to help Ursaluna out, and go from there. I like the ground coverage from Ursaluna combined with the ice of Glastrier. It's Mamoswine's difficult to resist combo. So I'm feeling like this is a good lead in. Of course, anything can happen. So what else do I need? Well, I've got the grassy terrain. I think I should take another grass type. Because that stab boosted grass type damage, if I'm finding someone who can't resist it well, is really strong. So, I'm looking at these 2 guys. Ogerpon in all the different forms, and Zarude. I like Zarude because the dark type is nice. Sneasler's quadruple weak to Psychic, so it's going to bait a lot of Psychic moves. I can switch Zarude in, but I'm probably not switching Sneasler out. If I'm switching Sneasler out, I might have lost the game because I brought it in and triggered Unburden. But I don't have to use Unburden every time. There's a lot of kind of moving bits. And then with Ogerpon, it's a Spiker. It's a Spiker. It's got nice support moves. It's got Knockoff. It's got Leech Seed. And it's decently quick. I want something that's fast that isn't Sneasler, so I can deal with fast things before I want to commit. The grass one, plain grass, I'm like, well, it's got all these nice traits, but it overlaps with Rillaboom. But Hearthflame and Cornerstone are appealing to me. I like the fire, it gives me a steel resist, and I like the rock. So Hearthflame is a grass type that isn't weak to ice or bug, and Cornerstone is a grass type that isn't weak to flying or fire. And both of those traits sound quite nice. Okay, so I'm thinking one of these guys, and then Comfey. So, as I said before, Comfey is nice. It's got this priority. I'm looking at this Urshifu fighting dark type 19-point crazy thing, and I'm thinking, well, priority Draining Kiss sounds really nice into that. It's nice into Valiant, it's nice into Dragapult. I just like it. Sure, I've already got a Fairy type, but Comfey feels like a Pokemon that I don't bring every week, but it can do a lot of work when it is good against the opponent's team. Okay, and then finally, I need some kind of hazard control, right? So I'm looking at the defoggers. I look at the spinners too, but Tusk and Treads are both gone. I'm not feeling very compelled by any other spinner. Looking at the defoggers, well, Corviknight is gone. I would have loved a Corviknight. I need a Steel. And I'm like, okay, but Mandibuzz, Talonflame, I mean, I need a Fire type, especially if I don't take Hearthflame. So I'm thinking maybe Mandibuzz or Talonflame. Mandibuzz is more expensive. I plug it in. So say I take these 5, making 9 total. I'm at 54 points with 50 left. So I can't take just these 5. So where am I going to make cuts? Well, I don't see a good replacement for Glastrier and Araquanid. I think they're both kind of unique in what they do. But I do see replacements for the Ogopons. So I think, okay, well, maybe I'm not picking Ogopon for the typing. I'm overlapping with Grassy anyway. I'm picking it for the utility. And it's good, right? Like, I want all of that stuff it can offer. So I dropped the rock typing from it, and I dropped Mandibuzz down to Talonflame. I want a fire type. It seems nice. It can defog. It can pivot. It can hit hard with Flare Blitz and Brave Bird if I need that kind of damage. So going into the mid-game, I'm thinking these 5. Comfey, Ogopon, Glastrier, Araquanid, Talonflame. So, here we are. Everyone's got their team structures kind of vaguely on trajectory now. So, we can run through some of the drafts. Infernape, Hooper, Quagsire, Primarina, Torkoal, Keldeo. There's a lot of waters coming out, and I'm like, oh, I hope no one takes Araquanid. Like, I know it's a low-cost thing, but if I'm going to need a water. Hydrapple, Slowking. Here comes some Regenerator Pokemon. I'm not trying to get Regenerator. I'm hoping the grassy terrain will keep me going. Maybe it won't, we'll see. Iron Hands, no surprise from Pincurchin Guy. Zapdos for the Rain team. Iron Moth, Sandy Shocks. Sandy Shocks is kind of a blow. It's certainly one that was worth considering as my spinner. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either. Okay, Iron Crown, Rotom Frost, Lycanroc Dusk. Lycanroc Dusk is interesting. Maybe a Snipe against someone. Pick. Okay, Venusaur for the Sun team, Tyranitar, Annihilate, Meowscarada, Mesprit. It's my turn. None of my picks have been taken. No sniping. I've got pick of the litter. And I'm looking at my picks. Ogopon, Talonflame, Glastrier, Araquanid. And I have this moment where I'm like, hang on, is this really bad? Like, is this just not going to work? Because when I'm, under the barrel, I'm like, do I need 2 Trick Room guys? Like I'm spending a lot of points to get these 2 strong Terra Captains. But like, surely I could make do with 1. What am I doing about flying, right? I've got nothing. I've got no flying resist. My water type's weak to flying. I guess I switched Glastrier and Terra at Steel. But like, is that reliable? I don't think it is. I'm looking at Talonflame and I'm like, I need this to be a resistance. I need it for its defensive properties. I need it to defog. I need it to pivot. I need it to deal damage. And it's a talent, like its stats aren't that good. I don't think I can roll compress that much. I just don't think it's bulky enough. And then I'm looking at Ogopon and I'm like, I can't take a second mono grass type. I can't do it. It's not like I'm sacrificing so much, and it's only 2 extra points to get a way more diverse resistance profile. I'm like, is Araquanid bulky enough? Does it do enough damage? And then I'm like, maybe Trick Room just isn't even good. Like, Trick Room's not usually that good in singles. It was good for the week that Ursaluna was around because of Ursaluna, but I'm pretty sure Magearna was in that week as well, and Magearna was crazy. So, I don't know, like, do I want to bank on Trick Room? Not really. I'm much more happy with grassy terrain. So, what do? I have this crisis of faith. What do? Change of plan. I'm taking Firepon, and I'm ditching Araquanid. I looked at the lower cost water types, and I saw Lantern, and a sparkle appeared in my eyes, because Lantern is a water type that resists flying, resists fire. It likes the grassy terrain a lot, because it doesn't have reliable healing, and because it's weak to Earthquake, and we can nullify that weakness. Lantern just looks really good to me. And it pivots things in. It switches well with Rillaboom. I'm like, okay, Lantern. Suddenly Lantern, out of nowhere. Arachnid's yesterday's news. And I've taken Fire Pon. I like it a lot. Having a grass type that isn't weak to ice is good because my team doesn't like ice. Okay, so the plan is now we rely on Glastrier. Glastrier is our guy, our Terra Captain. Cool. I take Fire Pon. More picks come out. Weavile, Rotom Heat, Ninetales. Ninetales is sneaky here. Look what they've done. They've taken 3 Sun Pokemon that aren't Fire types to keep us none the wiser, and then dropped Sun. I'm glad they didn't get Torkoal. That would be even scarier. But I'm still quite terrified of Roaring Moon plus Great Tusk. Rhyperior comes out. We're starting to see the Terra Captains, the lower tier Pokemon. Fizandipity comes out. Walking Wake for the Sun team. Crazy that was still around. Very terrifying. Azumarill. Tentacruel. My turn again. Still haven't been sniped at all. Pick of the litter. Again. And again I have a Crisis of Faith. I think... is Glastrier even good? Like, it's got crazy stats, but it's ZU, and there must be some reason. And I just... And it's pretty good in VGC, I think. Like, when you can support it, it's good. Certainly Calyrex Ice Rider is really good. And I'm thinking... maybe it's just not supportable. Like, I've only got one Trick Room sitter. Hatterene's having to do a lot of work. I don't know, like... What if it's just bad? It's a mono ice. I can Terror it. I can get Bolt Beam with Electric. I can go Steel and get a Steel type. That's pretty good. But it's slow, and I need the Trick Room, and Trick Room doesn't last very long. And everyone will know that I have Trick Room, so they'll all bring Protect and annoying moves. And I'm thinking, maybe I don't even like Glastrier anymore. And I'm looking at Talonflame, and I'm like, this thing's just going to die. Like, I'm going to switch it into a move. It's going to click Defog, and then it's going to die. And I look at Mandibuzz's stats. Do you remember Mandibuzz from before? And I'm like, okay, now here's a defensive profile, right? This thing's got longevity. So, but I can't afford Glastrier and Mandibuzz and Lantern. I fall in love with Lantern all of a sudden. Lantern's my new friend. Friendship over with Arachnid and Glastrier. So I say, you know what? We're ditching Glastrier. I have a bad feeling about it. Mandibuzz. And in the end, I didn't get sniped at all, but I took none of my 4 picks. Which surprised me. I was like, am I really doing this? I'm going off script. But, such is life. And I'm looking at my team and I'm actually quite happy. Like, it looks scary. I don't know. Before I took Fire Pon, my team was looking like the kind of guys you might see in an alleyway. I was like, are these guys really scary? Like, walking down an alleyway. Maybe they'll mug you, but they're not like going to ruin your world, right? They're not going to blow up a city block. Fire Pon, though, okay, we've got something kind of legendary. You know. What does that mean? Nothing. But the intimidation factor is important. I mean, looking at these teams, when I see this guy with Latios and Darkrai, that's scary. Is it good? I don't know, but it's terrifying. Okay, so here's the team. We've got 5 Funny Lads and a Vulture. Alas, I had to break from theme, but we all must break from theme eventually. And with these 5 Funny Lads and a Vulture, I have spent 88 points and I have 22 remaining. And I have to buy 3 more Pokemon. So, and 2 of them have to be out of Terra. So, I'm not going to be getting anything that expensive from here on out. It's going to be cheap guys, friendly guys, you know, the kind of people you might share a beer with rather than getting mugged in an alley by. Get mugged in an alley by. Cut that. It's okay. So, let's look at our team overview now. We can kind of get a more comprehensive idea of what's going on. So, Hatterene, 3 weaknesses. Its stabs are resisted, but by steel, it's a weakness anyway. And who does it cover? Well, Sneasler and Rillaboom, a little bit. Ursaluna, 4 weaknesses. 3 of them are covered already, which is good. And it helps quite a lot with Sneasler and Rillaboom, and especially with Hatterene. Resisting 2 out of 3 of Hatterene's weaknesses is good. It's not weak to anything that Hatterene's weak to, so it's a pretty reliable switch, which I like. Especially, maybe I want a Healing Wish to it. Trick Room, switch to Ursaluna. Doesn't seem so bad. Fire Pond. What does Fire Pond do? Well, we've got 3 weaknesses, and we can't hit Dragon types. 3 of them are covered, which is nice. Ursaluna Blood Moon is contributing a lot defensively. And Fire Pond, it's helping a little bit. It's dealing with that Steel matchup, which is nice. I mean, normal Ogerpon doesn't deal with the Steel matchup. And I'm getting more Grass Resist. And I want lots of Grass Resists because I don't want my opponents to be able to abuse the grassy terrain that I'm giving them. And then Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz has 4 weaknesses. 3 of them covered. It's got this Ice weakness. Ice is proving scary, right? I've got Rillaboom and Ursaluna, my big heavy hitters, my early game wall breakers, both weak to Ice. Mandibuzz, safe switch, also weak to Ice. I'm not liking that. But Mandibuzz helps us quite a lot. It has redundant switch-ins, but I like it having redundant switch-ins because I want Mandibuzz to be staying alive, taking chip damage when I need it. I want it to be a more reliable kind of switch than Hatterene or Rillaboom, which can take a hit or 2, but they're liable to get chipped down, and then maybe there's hazards. Hatterene, as much as it scares away hazards, it's shaky at always keeping them off. Especially in best of 1, I can't count on anything in particular. Okay, so here are my weaknesses. Flying, Ice, Fire. And I'm thinking about Lantern again, and I'm like, oh, I really need Lantern. Like, Lantern has to do a lot, because I don't have a Flying resist or an Ice resist, and I'm playing grassy terrain. People are going to bring their Flying types and their Ice types, and there are some scary Ice types. Like, I don't like the sound of Kyurem or Baxcalibur with this team. Now, is Lantern a reliable Kyurem answer? Not really. But nothing's a totally reliable Kyurem answer. That's going to be maybe we lose to Kyurem. It's okay. We've got Hatterene. Hatterene can cheese it somehow. But I'm like, okay, I need Lantern. And this round, when I don't have Lantern, I'm suddenly like, okay, if I don't get Lantern, what the heck am I going to do? Like, how do I round this team out without Lantern? So, I have a look at all the Pokemon that can resist these 3 types in combination at once. There's 20 in the whole game. And there are quite a few that we can rule out. So we don't want any of these pre-evolutions. They might come cheap, but they're not walling a 15-point Ice Beam from something scary. Okay, these guys are out for Dexit reasons. They didn't make it through the border. They're not welcome in Paldea. They are going to have to get their passports renewed and hope to get into Gen 10. Okay, and Rotom Heat has been taken by another player. So, we have 3 remaining options. 3 fire types, 3 water types. I'm not into these fire types. I mean, Arcanine Hisui, to be fair, is pretty cool, but I don't know what it does for my team besides its typing, and Fire Rock is a defensive typing that helps against these 3 types in particular, but 2 quadruple weaknesses to ground and water, like, I don't know. I don't know if that's what I want to be my defensive backbone. Especially, like, Kyurem, which haunts my dreams, clearly. It's just going to Earth Power these things. I mean, maybe it'll Earth Power Lantern too. Okay, so I'm like, I don't want the fire types. Dreadnought. I mean, Dreadnought is priced where it is just because of Swift Swim. And I'm not running Rain. I don't think Dreadnought does anything. Rotom Wash is really good. Rotom Wash is better than Lantern. I mean, it's way better than Lantern. There's a few things it doesn't have going for it. So, I kind of like Lantern being grounded, because I get the grassy terrain healing. Rotom's floating. It's a haunted washing machine. He doesn't live in the fields like the fish do. And Lantern can Terra. So I can turn it into a steel type if I need a steel type, which I probably will. I also like the Lantern can Terra because it's got 2 different immunity abilities, Volt Absorb and Water Absorb. So I can turn it into a type that's weak to lightning, electric, or a type that's weak to water, and still keep that immunity. So I'm like, okay, well, Rotom's still better. Like, it's much bulkier, it's stronger, it's Rotom. It's Rotom Wash. We know Rotom Wash. He's been around for decades doing his funny washing machine thing. But Lantern costs 6 points, and Rotom Wash costs 14. And I only have 22 points left. So if I take Rotom Wash, I've got to make 8 points work for 2 Pokemon that are both my Terra Captains. So I'm getting 2 terrible Terra Pokemon. Now, Lantern is not the best Terra Pokemon, but I like it. And if I take Lantern, I can take Comfey and a 6-point Terra. I want Lantern. I really want Lantern. I think if I'm going to get sniped, it's going to be someone sniping Rotom Wash. It's a better Pokemon. But this round, I'm clenching my teeth, right? I'm checking the draft chat every 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, I get a ping in the chat. I'm like, oh, is this the one? If I lost my Lantern, I'm going to have to, like, call the person who's taken my Lantern and say, look, buddy, like, I'll trade you something. Do you want a kidney? I'll give you a kidney if you give me your fish. Like, I need that thing, right? So, okay. I'm taking Lantern. If I don't get it, I'm taking Rotom Wash, Comfey, and then Go-Goat. It's kind of a meme. I'm probably never bringing it, but it can Terra. It's got Sap Sipper. It's got Grass Pelt, which is an ability that never gets any use, but, it's draft. And I figure if I'm doing grassy terrain, I should take the goat, just for kind of moral reasons, like it would be a crime of some sort to leave the goat behind. Okay, first pick comes out, it's Blastoise. I'm like, okay, I wish people would stop taking water types, because the more water types people take, the less there are in the pool, and the less there are in the pool, the more likely it is that someone takes Lantern. Vikavolt. Okay, I didn't want Vikavolt. Alolan Ninetales. It's an annoying Pokemon. They can do Aurora Veil with Annihilate, but it's not a water type. Greavard. Sandrush Greavard's interesting. There's a Sun team, they're not going to take Lantern. Here's an Arboliver, fun Pokemon. Yanmega. Basculegion. Okay, the Rain team. That's not for the Rain team, that's for the Iron Treads team. Interesting. Maybe a Snipe. Don't know what it does outside of Rain, but it's cool. Here's our obligate Iron Thorns, which we all knew the Pincurchin guy was going to take because they're an icon. Gastrodon. Here's Gastrodon. There's my Araquanid. That was what I wanted long ago, but I've forsaken Araquanid. I don't care about Araquanid. If I was still going for Araquanid, that would be heartbreaking, but I'm not. I'm glad they didn't take Lantern. Okay. Bronzong. That guy, Barraskewda. Wordia, Klefki, Regieleki. And I'm like, okay, only 6 more picks. Colossal, it's not a Lantern. Teleon, it's another water, it's not a Lantern. Clefairy. Arcanine Hisui. Weezing, and I'm thinking, okay, this guy just took a blast. There's no way this guy takes Lantern. He just took a Blastoise. There's no way. And he doesn't. And I get it. And I click that Lantern so quickly. Actually, I don't think I do. I think I was asleep again. And I got an auto pick. But if I had been awake, that message would have come out 10 seconds after the guy picked Weezing. And I'm like, oh, okay. Lantern's carrying a lot of weight. It's got to resist a lot of stuff. But I got it. And I'll get Comfey. All right, well, I don't care if I get sniped on Comfey. Getting sniped on Comfey might improve my team because it doesn't do anything defensively that Hatterene doesn't already do. So, more guys are coming out, and now we're seeing the funny meme low-tier Terra Pokemon. Cryogonal's respectable. Fortress, Gligar, Salazzle. I get to my team again. And again, I have this moment when I pick where I'm like, I don't know. Like, am I really doing the right thing? So I look at my problems, right? Problem 1, I don't have a steel type. We're 7 Pokemon, I don't have a steel type. Problem 2, Comfey is redundant. It does what Hatterene does. I like its sort of priority healing with Giga Drain and Draining Kiss. That's fun and cool. And it can steal games. But do I need it? I don't know. Problem 3, I don't have a steel type. I never got one. Problem 4, my team is super weak to poison and ice, which steel type resist. Problem 5, I don't have a steel type. And I'm thinking, what could be done to fix this problem? And I'm looking at Skarmory and I'm like, steel type. I mean, it doesn't resist ice, but it deals with poison. It's bulky. It would probably be sensible. I should get a steel type. So I took Comfey, of course, and ended up with this as my team. I was quite happy with it. It looks nice, right? This is good. The lads and their vulture, they stumbled upon a forest with a pond and a glade, and they found a little glowing fish and a bundle of flowers, and they were happy. So let's have a look at our changes in the type chart. So, we add Lantern in. Well, it's got 3 weaknesses. Well, 2 weaknesses, and it can't hit dragons. And they're well covered. Right? We can deal with those things. We're not worried about those things. What does Lantern do for us defensively? Well, it's heavenly. Look at that. Boop, boop, boop. Lantern is checking all the boxes. Lantern looks great. I mean, maybe it will just be too squishy and it will just die in battle. But on paper, I mean, I've never been so happy to see a fish. Comfey, defensively, it's not doing that much. But that's okay. I don't mind having redundancy. And we're using it for its priority gimmick thing anyway. Okay, so this is a chart of which Pokemon I have don't share any weaknesses, which I think is quite important and hard to glean from this chart. So if I look over at Sneasler and see who's resisting its weaknesses, we can look at ground and see it's Rillaboom and Mandibuzz, right? If someone's clicking a ground type move because I've got a Sneasler in, I can switch to one of those two. The problem is, if I switch to Rillaboom, and they click a flying type move, which Sneasler's also weak to, I'm in big trouble, right? So maybe they've got coverage. Like, switching to Rillaboom isn't that safe because they can happily click a flying type move, and whether or not I switch, they hit me just the same. With Mandibuzz, though, they either have to click a move that will hit Mandibuzz at best for them neutrally, they click a flying type move, or click a move that doesn't hit Sneasler super effectively, but does hit Mandibuzz, click an ice type move, but maybe I don't switch, right? So it puts them in a much more difficult situation. So I like that. And if we look at who's kind of winning, well, it's Mandibuzz, right? 4 Pokemon that she has no weaknesses with. And then this kind of triangle in the center. The grass types and Comfey, which is made of flowers, so I guess it's a honorary grass type, they're not having such a good time, right? They don't have many switch-ins that they can go to safely. But that's okay. Our defensive core is these 3 in the center: Mandibuzz, Hatterene, Lantern. Will that hold up? I don't know. But I'm happy with my offensive power. Like Sneasler with Ursaluna plus Fire Pond is... there's a lot of upfront damage. I mean, Blood Moon is just insane. And yeah, I don't know, I've got the longevity. I'm not feeling too bad about it. Now, I've got 2 last picks, but Go-Goat and Volbeat. I mean, what a combo. Volbeat he's a mascot. I chose Volbeat because maybe there's a world where I need some prankster shenanigans to get out of a bind, right? I'm versing a weather team and I need prankster rain dance to turn off the sun. Even then, it's almost certainly not worth a team slot. But, I need prankster Thunderwave, I need prankster Encore. Like, there's some niche world where Volbeat does some cheesy thing and steals a victory from the jaws of defeat or something. And then Go-Go, well, I need another Terra. It's got these kinds of properties. I'm probably bringing Lantern most games, but maybe Go-Go surprises me. It can turn into a water type. Sap Sipper, not so bad. Okay, and here's the final team. We have 9 Pokemon that matter and one other one. I don't know why Go-Goat has 372 speed on this chart. Go-Goat is not that fast. It's got Go in the name. It's not running as fast as Sneasler. It doesn't have that long legs. Okay, but I don't know. It's looking pretty good, and it wasn't what I intended. I mean, I didn't get the Glastrier. I didn't get the Heatran. But I'm kind of glad it played out this way. Like this, I feel like I have a lot of options going into the draft. There's a lot of customization, a lot of moveset changes I can make, and I have quite a few different options for weird sweepers. Like I can sweep with Calm Mind, Ursaluna, Hatterene, or Comfey, and break with the other ones, or support with the other ones. And Sneasler and Ogerpon. I mean, I don't have to run Unburdened Sneasler, but it's really good, so I probably will. Defensively, I kind of like it too. That's the draft. I will probably make... I intend to make prep videos with a recap of the game, but I'll be making those, releasing those after the game, so I don't leak all my strats to the lovely audience at home, all of you ghosts who are watching this video that I'm making to nobody. Thank you, ghosts. If you subscribe, we're on the road to three subscribers. I only need 2 ghostly subscriptions. Ghostly, like spectral. So if you're a ghost, if you get your spectral hand and you know, ectoplasmos through the screen around the subscribe button, you'll subscribe. And then for now until whenever your unresolved business is concluded, you'll be notified whenever I upload a video, which will be either once a week or never again. But you'll never know until one or the other comes to be. Yeah. My closing thoughts are, who designed Sneasler? Look at this creepy thing. What's wrong with it? I don't know. It's really disgusting. It carried you around in Legends Arceus. I don't know why they had to make it like that. But it is cool from a gameplay perspective. And yeah, I'm happy with the draft. I'm excited to play some games. Find out where all of the obvious flaws are that I'm not seeing right now, which I'm sure I will. So, adieu. Thank you for watching. All of you nobody people who have made it this far. It's been a pleasure and an honor, and I will see you. Well, I hope I don't see you, because I don't know you. If I do see you, neither of us will know that I'm seeing you, because I don't know you, and you won't be able to see me, unless you can see me. And then you'll see me and you'll say, you made that rambly draft video. And I'll say, I didn't think anyone watched the rambling draft video. And you'll say, no, I watched it. And I'll say, why? Why did you do that? And you'll say, I don't know, like, what else was there to watch? And I'll say, yeah, I guess. I mean, it can be dire sometimes. Like, you gotta wait a while for these, it's not every day you get a ContraPoints or an H-Bomber guy. So instead we get a Henry Kidd Sneasler draft. I mean, it's not fine dining. I'll end it with that.